Hey, welcome to Postpartum Reframed, your guide to biblical joy. On this podcast, I'll discuss about the who, what, why, and hows of cultivating and practicing biblical joy in the first year postpartum. I'm your host, Kendall. I'm a wife and mama to 4 amazing children who you may hear in the background sometimes of this podcast. By the grace of God, I have overcome postpartum depression, rage, and anxiety by daily leaning into the strength that comes purely from His joy. Now I'm passionate about helping other moms do the same so that even in the hard moments of postpartum, it can still be seen as a joy-filled experience. This podcast is available on YouTube as well as various podcast players. You can find the full show notes in the description of anywhere that you are listening, and if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Now let's dive into today's episode. In this episode, I'm talking about 3 mindset shifts for postpartum marriage stress to strengthen your relationship. And the first one is, I am going to forgive and not be easily offended. We're on the same team, not opponents. In Colossians 3:12-16 NLT version, it says, So since God chose you to be the holy people He loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. So for this point, in the midst of exhaustion, it is so easy to be harsh in our words and to think that we're opponents and we're not on the same team. And even though the exhaustion is real, hormones are real, especially in those first couple of months, we need to remember that we shouldn't operate in our own strength because, of course, in our own strength, we can't do this. We need to lean on God's strength and remember that despite all of those things, He has called us to live a better life where we forgive others and we love others and we work as one team. And then I love the last part where it says, always be thankful. No matter how something may look, it may not be true. And so we want to take a step back and look at things from a factual standpoint and be like, okay, so what about this situation is actually true and not just how I feel in this moment? From there, we can look at the small things and see areas that we can be more thankful. And then the next mindset shift is, I will choose a gentle answer. In Proverbs 15:1, it says, A gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. So it kind of goes with the first point where we want to make sure that even if we only got 2 hours of sleep, we want to use self-control, lean on the Lord, and answer gently. Even if that means gently biting our tongue literally so we don't say something mean or something harsh that we will regret later on and make us feel disconnected from our husband. And now I know it sounds beautiful to say, I'm going to choose an answer and I'm going to forgive, but I also know that when you've been up at least 3 times in a night and the mental load feels like it's crushing you, a gentle answer feels almost impossible to find on your own. It is so easy to let the enemy convince you that your husband is the opponent instead of your teammate. If this sounds like you, I'd love to walk beside you, which is why I will be coming out with a 4-week intensive where you're a part of a small private community in Boxer. You will be able to submit your question, what you're struggling with, or a prayer request at any time via a voice or text message, and I personally will respond each day, guiding you on how to practice true joy in your life right now. This allows each person to receive one-on-one coaching, but it also allows the other members to encourage each other, to not feel alone, and to learn and grow together. It's the perfect next step for the mama who wants to move from hearing to doing in a shorter time span. So if this is something that you or someone you know are interested in, I will leave a link for the waitlist in the show notes so that you can be the first to know all of the details and when enrollment opens. And then the last mindset shift is, I am His helper, not just physically, but in the words we speak as well. Genesis 2:18, it says, Then the Lord God said, It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him. And then in Proverbs 12:4 NIV translation, it says, "A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones." And I don't know about you, but I do not want to be decay in my husband's bones. And so when we talk about being our husband's helper, it doesn't mean that we are less than. And not only are we called to be his helper in the physical aspects, maybe we're running the house, we're taking care of everything inside the home, maybe we're a stay-at-home mom, or maybe homeschooling, or maybe you take care of all the appointments, anything like that that is a physical duty of taking care of the physical aspects of life. That is one aspect of being his helper. But also in the words we speak to him as well, I would say those are just as important as the physical aspects of being his helper, because what we speak to him and over him is either speaking life over him or it's speaking death. And so if all you do is complain about what he doesn't do or what he said wrong, then you're speaking death over your husband, and you're like decay in his bones. But if you appreciate the little things that he does or the big things that he does, and you acknowledge those things, you make sure that you're just speaking life over him. Like, thank you so much for going to work and supporting our family. Thank you for working on our vehicles. You're such a good father. You're such a good husband. Thank you for leading our family well. Those kind of things are speaking life over your husband. And then along the lines of that is praying for him as well. Prayer is one of the biggest tools that you could possibly have in your marriage. And so before you complain, make sure you pray first and go to God about it, because it is not our job to control our husband or to change his mind or his heart about something. We can have a respectful conversation and give our thoughts in a respectful way, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't agree, then take it to God. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Postpartum Refrain podcast today. If this helped, encouraged you, or you have a question, please take a few moments to comment, leave a review, or share it with another mama who could benefit from this type of content. Let's create a world where women can have a joy-filled postpartum together. And if you want to continue learning about biblical joy postpartum, click the link in the show notes to join the email community where you will get encouragement every single Tuesday. I'll see you next Friday.